I have faith that the Constitution will not be saved in Washington. Secret combinations, lusting for power, gain, and glory are flourishing. A secret combination that seeks to overthrow the freedom of all lands, nations, and countries is increasing its evil influence and control over America and the entire world.
As a reminder, due to the sacred nature of all temple ordinances, the fact and the content of these changes should not be discussed outside of the temple.
Travis, my good soul. When the Book of Mormon teaches us to be on the alert for secret combinations, for which secret combinations will bring about the destruction of a civilization, it's kind of important that we recognize a secret combination and know that they are the enemy. As the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints claims to be a religion, they sure have a lot of secrets that they demand and threaten Mormons not to reveal. And as one who believes in the Book of Mormon first, the church has targeted me for being a whistleblower, exposing the church's secret combinations, and their insurrectionist terrorist threats to the United States of America, to mankind, and throughout all the world. And so, lately they are on the attack through YouTube again. I've noticed for the last couple of weeks that they've been trying something new. Those of you who have been following for a while, for these last couple of weeks, will notice that there are certain videos where there's an extra grinding on the video. This is part of YouTube's most recent attack that I've been able to connect it to. They are desperately trying to silence my voice because the church is getting exposed. And so, if you give aid and comfort to the enemy, you are the enemy yourself. You can't say, well, I was just the driver. I didn't shoot those people. You gave aid and comfort. You are guilty of shooting those people in a court of law. And we have Jack Smith released his part 1 and said Trump would have been convicted. He still needs to be. He's illegal. He committed insurrection against the United States of America. Convicted. He is not allowed to run for president. He is not allowed to be president. 14th Amendment, Section 3. It's in the video this morning. Those are the kinds of things that I expose with the church. I can do it with Trump, but MAGA hate me. But Mormons do too. So I found that I get more attention when I expose the church rather than exposing Trump. But it was fun. I got him to say oranges of the investigation. The good old days. Yeah, Kim Jong-un wasn't too happy either. Neither was Putin. Evil people are fun to mock and expose. And they get angry when they get exposed because they wanted it kept a secret. So when I was in the older singles ward, I was a home teacher of one particular woman who had a cable service. In the olden days when cable TV first came out. And she asked me if it was illegal for her to make a VHS recording of shows that would allow her to go out and do other necessities and then watch it later on the recording. And so I said, did you not have a contract agreement to acquire the cable service for which you now have the rights to have your private viewing of their content? Yeah. That's all that's needed. You can make recordings of the content that you purchased to obtain. And so there is no legal issue or warning that the FBI is going to come breaking down your door because you made a recording of something that you had purchased. Just like DVDs, you'll often see me converting DVDs to a digital format so that I can watch them straight from the TV. there's nothing illegal about that. I purchased the DVDs. I convert them for my own personal use. The FBI warning is for when you mass produce copies and sell them to others, as you make the profit. And the confusion came with video rental stores. I never understood for the life of me when I'm told that America is capitalist, and yet I've yet to see real capitalism utilized in America. We've got all these middleman economics, barter, trade, communism, other forms of economic systems, and I'm just not really seeing capitalism. But nonetheless, Disney, sort of, yeah, they had their own store in the Cottonwood Mall at one point in time. I don't know if it's still there. I doubt it, because they want to go streaming. They want to move to China. They hate America. They don't like merchandising anymore. And so they throw up fusses with Amazon to not have a contract agreement to sell their products through them and blah, blah, blah. Nonetheless, YouTube with the internet is free content. The new CEO is responsible for the botched failure of premium TV and movie channels and all of the bleeping ads. But nonetheless, YouTube is for those who have purchased internet is sort of free, and so YouTube likewise for the most part is free, and thus the same rules apply that I can then access by downloading for my personal viewing, so that I don't always have to be on YouTube, which when I am, YouTube tends to throw a fit and say, "Time's up, Travis, we're communist. Your social credit rating is so low, your time is up." And I don't understand why people say that China is evil, but then follow their economic policies that make them evil. It's part of that illusory truth effect, whatever it's called, that I talked about yesterday, where they say one thing but do exactly what they called evil. This is a cover-up feature of secret combinations. But because of the church's hatred towards me and their attacks on me, and knowing, like the video I did this morning, contains free access, fair use content to be used for my videos, the church gets upset with it, because the church didn't want people to know that Utah is a sanctuary state. And I added some extra gems in this morning's video. There's a hotline. Trump, Nelson, he's hiding illegals. Get him. It's going to be a good day. And so, yeah, this latest attack not only does that weird sound on my recordings, they also prevent me from downloading content that's freely available, and yet YouTube has that grudge against me because the church, through the Strengthening Church Members Committee, ordered them to shut me down any way possible. They've been trying to silence me, cut down on my views of my videos that I post, and finding ways to punish me. Oh, yeah, this one other person claims that he's the copyright owner of church material. And so you've got a copyright violation, Travis. So our algorithms are now programmed to, silence your views even further. You get 1 view per hour max for the next 5 years. Until you can learn to behave. See, they know they are in power and in control over me. But they need to know they're also committing a crime, a very serious crime, because they're using the internet. And this is what's called cyber terrorism. For the church. They're committing crimes for the church. That's where the illusory truth effect comes into play, is that people who have lies repeated to them over and over and over again start believing the lies and then act on those lies. The primary song that we get told and has repeated into our brain over and over and over again until we accept it. Do what is right, let the consequences follow. And thus, if you do what is wrong, the consequences will also follow. But Mormons, with this illusionary truth effect, change the meaning of wrong to right. That's the change that they have going on in their brains. And so even though I'm doing a video covering news, covering the exact quotes of the living prophets of Jesus, Mormons see that as me being evil, that I'm exposing as a Korihor falsehoods, twisting their words around. And it just shows that the Mormons are illiterate, and that their illusory truth effect is altering meanings, altering reality to make them the good guys at all costs. So that criminal behavior is not criminal behavior if the church orders and does it and is true. Mormons can't pull out of something like that. It is very difficult to re-educate a person who's been indoctrinated in a religious cult, to have them realize that what they were doing was wrong, and that what that person, leader, was doing to them was wrong. And yet, time and time again, we see those examples. We've got a teacher here at a grade school in Utah who had to flee the country for sexually assaulting a couple of students. So it's different than the teenagers who are cyber terrorizing teachers or bus drivers by planting child porn on their devices to get them busted and out of their life, thinking that's funny to ruin other people's lives. Which is so true. And so yes, I have seen the evilest of mankind when told by the Strengthening Church Members Committee that they were ordered by the leaders of the church to destroy my life, to murder me if possible, to financially hurt me. They threatened my brother to do it. My brother, like a zombie, did it. No hesitation. He doesn't watch my channel. He didn't know that I talk about him. It was the Strengthening Church Members Committee who specifically go through my channel videos looking to find fault with me, to get me in trouble, to silence me and shut me up. I know their pattern of practice. And yet, because my brother failed, duh, he was the one who got hurt and punished for his failure. And I have seen that same pattern of practice to others who have been told to hurt me and failed. Those who succeed to some degree with their capacity get financially rewarded, and others get fired. And so yes, I see exactly what the church is doing yet again this time, right now. They're setting it up. It's coming. I know it's coming. There's nothing I can do to stop it, but I see it coming. And the church is behind it. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. There's nobody I can report to stop them. This is what the church does. I am constantly having to be on my guard against the next church attack. And here it's coming. I know it's coming. I see it coming. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. And so YouTube, likewise. Yet another attack. I knew it was going to come. I didn't know exactly what form it was going to come, whether it was going to be the same types of tactics they've previously done. But AI loves to try new things. This is a religion, or at least it claims to be. It's technically a corporation, which is why they can do other stuff. But it's criminal. But for a religion to be keeping secrets, to threatening Mormons to keep secrets about the temple rituals, seriously? What don't you want us to know? Oh, right. You're going to overthrow the government with the law of consecration. And we're supposed to kill ourselves to protect you from getting prosecuted in the law of sacrifice. And we're now supposed to resume polygamy with the law of chastity change in 2019. That's why you want us to keep the temple a secret. Because they're crimes. If the church stuck to love yourself, love your neighbor, don't be mean, don't be abusive, leave them alone. If they want to watch porn, let them. Don't abuse the women who show their body. There is no crime in that. There is no sin in that. Well, yeah, but in the Bible, Lucifer says that they need to cover up and hide. Yeah, Lucifer's doctrine is to cover up and hide. And yet people argue over whether or not nudity is evil or good, and you miss the point altogether. Love, you're supposed to factor in love. Is it love to take away another person's agency? No. But when you get these religious leaders who repeat it over and over again, it's just like COVID. You're going to die. You'll go blind. It's an addiction. Mormons believe them. And then they become soldiers in the army against porn. That's in the news again lately. Florida has been the latest to be denied Pornhub. And as I was cyber attacked last night, I had to wait until this morning to go over the news. And so I found out that now, because so many states are wanting to create a blacklist of their citizens who watch Pornhub. It's now being taken up with the Supreme Court. This is evangelical at its worst. And there, I saw yesterday, before I was cyber attacked, that somebody was working on a book, or published a book, was doing an advertisement through the news about how the rise of evangelicalism is the cause of the overthrow of our government. I've been doing the YouTube videos the whole time about the church doing it. But it's all because of the secret combination of the church. It all began with the Danites secretly going against Joseph Smith, but telling other Mormons and converts that Joseph Smith approves and he's in charge of all of it. And so some of these suckers who believe the lies of the Danites get put into a position to be with Joseph Smith, and they think that Joseph Smith is the leader of it, and they talk about it to Joseph Smith. And Joseph Smith says, "Oh, okay, so you're doing that, are you? Well, you're excommunicated now. Thank you for confessing." And then they're upset that they got excommunicated for committing crimes. And then they become an enemy of Joseph Smith. But they're not allowed to go back to the Danites, because they're going to expose them. Danites played you for a fool. Devil never supports his own. And so this is a very difficult thing to get across to a Mormon audience, and especially a Mormon audience who left the church or excommunicated from the church, because everybody is still stuck with the illusory truth of fact that the repeated lies are true. Joseph Smith is a polygamist. And then the church, after publishing the Joseph Smith papers, which vindicates Joseph Smith of polygamy, he did not practice it, even with his 1830 Book of Mormon that just came out last year. Sure enough, his own notes annotating the Book of Mormon, his Book of Mormon from 1830 says no polygamy, highlighting one wife, and then marking where the one wife in the text is in Jacob. And so these kinds of things get thrown out of those who are indoctrinated into the lies, because it doesn't fit their narrative. So they just dismiss it. You can't. You have to explain it. And you can't. Your belief has turned out to be false. You've been lied to. And because of indoctrination, you mentally cannot cope with it. And so you have to dismiss truth and reality in order to maintain your faith bubble, as it's called in religion. And so there's nothing I can do if people are just going to be couch potato viewers of my channel and my content. If the younger generations refuse to watch my channel. And that's what's actually going on, is that the indoctrination of the church on the younger generation since 1993, when they shut down intelligence with September 6th, it's working. The church is winning. They not only were able to get Trump in to destroy America in the coming day, 4 days now, isn't it? It says 5. Yeah, 5 days. But they've been fully indoctrinating those younger than I am, who were teenagers and below since the 1993 psychological attack on America. They got themselves placed in the school systems. So instead of going to see the principal, you go and see the psychologist. And then as a bully, you get all these new great ideas from what the psychologist said that you are. As a bully. Oh, cool. I'm going to try that on Susie. It's Susie Durkins. Calvin and Hobbes. My favorite comic strip. But, so, yeah, it's a situation where Mormons don't see what's coming. The church sees what's coming. That's why Cox panicked after getting exposed for a sanctuary state. Because the new guy that's coming in for, what is it, Homeland Security or ICE? It's one of the two. He's giving out the orders to all ICE directors of every state. So that's why the ICE director of Utah said what he said, because he was told to back down, because the church is involved in harboring and employing and converting illegal people. The church does not want what Trump is going to do to America to do to Utah, to the church. But yet they wanted Trump to do what he's going to do to the rest of the nation so that the church can have Utah as their kingdom while the rest of the nation is in civil war. And for guys like me, the church is waiting so that they can get me again. And I can't flee. I'd have to give up the history of the records of the people. The church wants that. They've been trying to keep me from my property and from the history of the people. All the evidence against the church, their whole plot, and how it all happened step by step all these 200 years. They want me silenced. They want me dead. They want all this destroyed. And they're trying every way to do it. And so, yeah, after my brother's failure in 2023, I've had relative peace for the rest of that year until 2024, the Valentine's Day Massacre that I still have never recovered from. That financially hurt me. And the church never apologizes. They never say that they're sorry. They never make restitution. They just threaten us that we have to constantly repent and go through the stages. Otherwise, we're the bad people. But yet the leaders of the church, they know they're wrong, so it's not illusory truth effect for them, because they're knowing about it, purposely lying about it. This is what evil people do, like the bullies at school who get sent to the psychologist's office. They use those tactics. That's why Nelson, you can see the change in his talks to incorporate psychological manipulation of you. Think celestial. And he says addicted to porn. There's no such thing. That's a lie that is repeated over and over again by psychologists. because they need people to give them money to support their lifestyle. And that's supposed to be an illegal practice in the United States. The exploitation of humans for profit. But they're psychologists. They're able to deceive the weak-minded people. Like pig guards in Star Wars. Or clones. These are not the droids you were looking for. Your Jedi mind tricks don't work on me. Well, good show. Good stuff. And so, what else is there to talk about? I mean, I've already said it. Church is keeping secrets, therefore they're not the good guys. If you're keeping secrets, you're not the good guy. Now, for military purposes, yeah, you gotta keep secrets. That's what Kennedy was talking to the press about in the clip I had this morning. That was his famous one, saying that there are secret combinations trying to destroy America, and he wanted the press's help to expose that in the government. And then he was assassinated by a secret combination in the government. And Trump leaked it, said it was the CIA, which means it was returned Mormon missionaries who assassinated a president. With George Poppy Bush standing at the corner, the fateful corner, as a young CIA agent in the United States of America in Dallas that day. They have his plane ticket. They have his hotel room. They know it was him. So, but it's sad that Bob Woodward only needed to publish the one Mormon Deep Throat article. It's hilarious. Deep Throat was a Mormon. And it brought down Nixon. All the president's men. That's all that was needed. Took down the president. And yet, he's got 4 or 5 different books on Trump. Even Jack Smith and the other guy who did his special thing for the Russia involvement, where he couldn't conclude because Barr told him not to, and thus Barr was tampering with justice, so he should have locked up Barr for tampering with an investigation. Let's see, he's got War, Fear, Rage, Trump Tapes, and Peril. 5 books. Dear God. And still, Trump is illegally taking office in 5 days. Illegally. It's like none of the Congress people who swore an oath to the Constitution have even ever read the Constitution. When SCOTUS overthrew Roe v. Wade, it was the president's responsibility to lock up as terrorist insurrectors all of SCOTUS who voted to overthrow Roe v. Wade, and then appoint new justices to replace them, declaring martial law until the justices are locked up. South Korea is doing it right now. They had an impeachment vote, and so then they were going to have the hearings, and he failed to show. So the military went into his presidential palace, locked him up. And a Mormon is involved in all of this. The Mormon on the Supreme Court in South Korea. So, Church is involved in the coups all around the government, all around the world. That's why I do my videos. That's why YouTube attacks me. That's why the church attacks me. That's why Mormons attacks me. That's why Mormons who work for Amazon steal my packages. This church is pure evil as the enemy. And they will not stop until they win. And until America wakes up to the reality of this threat, who's going to stop them? They control the whole state of Utah. And Mormons who are in on it, they're pawns. They're expendable, such that if they fail, they go down alone. See, Cox, he's the one taking the front lines that if Trump is not happy with what Utah is doing, Governor Cox will be the one punished, not the church. This is why the church wanted Cox to be the governor again this year, even though apparently there was a scandal about him not being qualified to be on the ballot. But the church wanted him in, church got him in. So, people need to understand the threat that we're all in. You can't just sit on your couch afraid of the church. Nelson has to give it up. Because he's not gonna get away with it. The leak, it exposed the state of Utah. The ICE director, he's gonna keep his job. You know, if somehow Cox is able to lie to get him removed, fine, but when Trump finds out that the ICE director of Utah was replaced with somebody who's gonna do what the church wants and not what Trump wants, Trump's not going to be happy. There's going to be a hotline. Trump! Trump! So, there will be bloodbath here in Utah, not just in America. So, yeah, that's why I'm concerned. The church has to fall in order for them to transfer everything to me so that I can get you to Zion. Because that's the only place that'll be at peace, safety, and refuge. Everywhere else around the whole world will be at war. You will not survive. We have to get to Zion at all costs. It's just not criminal. And as long as you're not the first cause, it's defensive. But we should never have to be placed into a defensive position. Because the Mormons around the world especially don't know me. Those in Utah know me and want to murder me. Steal my packages and hurt me financially and whatever. But if the church, if Trump gets elected, does his thing, first thing, Utah descends into chaos. Nobody will know to follow me either. Nobody will know where to go to Zion. Nobody will be able to get to Zion. Missionaries do not understand this. Have I not made it clear in the previous 2 videos about this subject? 3, I think, this morning. I even covered it briefly with just a picture meme. But the church is going to leave your missionary family members stranded. Trump takes over next week, and then boom, all hell breaks loose. Trump will be shutting down the airports and the ports of entry and the borders immediately. That's what the border czar said. He says we need the money, but if we don't get the money, we're still doing it on day one. Do you not understand this? Your missionaries will be stranded in a foreign country. They will not be allowed to come to America. We have to overthrow this church. They have to give it up. Because otherwise we're all doomed. And I'm pretty sure you don't want your loved ones to, well, maybe you do. In 2020 you let them die. Called them sensitive snowflakes and murdered them. Thought it was funny. He got on late night comedy. Oh, look at these Mormons. Oh, they're so stupid. And then we had the news stories about the employees who were wearing Confederate bandanas. Yeah, because it's Dixie. Hello. The converts who lost the Civil War came to the south of Utah and settled there. Duh. It's like everybody wants to ignore the history of why things are the way they are. The illusory truth effect. I'm probably calling it wrong. Nope. Illusory truth effect. Got it right. So, yeah, I've been doing battle with the church this whole time. So when I filed a petition for a redress of grievances in 2008, I knew my life was over. I handed it to them. I even put in my petition that that's exactly what they would do, because they're that evil. And they did it, because they're that evil. But again, secrets. I was disappeared. I was not given a trial, due process. I was disappeared into a concentration camp to be tortured and murdered. And so I had a brief stay in the Salt Lake County Jail until that transfer took place, where I got to meet Brian David Mitchell, Curtis Allgaier, and Easy. Thanks again for the paper, Easy. Did you ever get out? Are you still alive? Or did you get back in? You're not taking me alive, coppers! But, yeah, this church is criminal, guys. And if you're just going to keep denying it, the consequences are still going to happen, and you're not going to like the consequences, and you're going to complain. Why are you doing this to us? We're the true church. We're the chosen ones. We have God's sperm. I almost put that in the video. Seriously. Holland, how the hell did he become an apostle? Everything he says is just, what the hell did he say? With a geriatric leadership, it's difficult to rein them in during conference. Oh my God. Yeah, David B. Haight in his final years, cracking jokes about how senile he is. Dear God, just winging it up there, not following a script. How are you supposed to brainwash people if you don't have a script that keeps repeating certain code words throughout your talk and throughout the conference for the theme? I exposed that in the beginning. You get several of the speakers using the same wording in their talk. Using the same words. I'm going, I'm seeing a pattern here. Alright. Well, we're done. Like I said at the beginning of this year or end of last year, I don't see how I can survive into this year. Literally. The evil of this church to destroy me because they know who I am is just so intensely strong that everything that happens, I'm very aware of it being a potential attack on me. And there's nothing I can do. Not a single thing. And so it's sad that Mormons, for the most part, who do come to my channel, not the regulars, you guys are still listening, most likely. Maybe you've given up by now. But Mormons are not going to like being used by the church, and it'll be too late to complain to the church when it all hits the fan. Mormons are used to just going through the motions, having a checklist in their mind of do's and don'ts, and so they do the minimal that they can. And so they'll go to church, but they'll just sit there on their cell phones, watching my channel and putting a thumbs down and a hate comment and a death threat. They won't participate. They won't study in advance. And the new Doctrine and Covenants manuals, all this, they don't want you to study anyway. You're supposed to be taught the gospel principle for the lesson and apply it in your life. But it's a lie that they're telling you. And so the consequences of following a lie is what? Nevertheless. And so Mormons are being led literally as lambs to the slaughter. That all of this apathy that the church has instilled in you is what the church is going to accuse you with and blame you for when you are burned. Well, yeah, you were lazy learners and lax disciples. That's what you get. Well, you should have obeyed us. We did obey you. You misinterpreted. What do you mean? Blaming us? And so yeah, it's easy to say that you'll find out when you're dead of what was true or not. I hear Mormons doing that to me. You'll be sorry when you're dead. How will you feel when you're face to face with Jesus? Well, apparently you don't know your Doctrine and Covenants section 76 very well. If I'm the anti-Mormon, antichrist, apostate, Korihor, son of perdition that you accuse me of, I'm never going to see Jesus. I'm too unworthy. Mormons just don't think. They just speak from their heart that has been tampered with illusory truth effect. Illusory truth effect, illusory truth effect, illusory truth effect. When you say that, it makes me want to disbelieve you. Well, that means you've been indoctrinated, because you're not able to independently judge what is true and what is false. I mean, seriously, telling Mormons 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 2 at the beginning of my videos and they still don't believe it? That's some deep indoctrination that I cannot break through. So, alrighty. I'm going to be pissed if I somehow survive to Passover, let alone Purim. From the first year I wanted this to end, that #1 video of mine was forced on me by Karen. When are we going? I demand to know. I'm not walking. Fine. I'll do some research. And so I did the video. And it shows, and that's why the prophets have shut me down ever since. It shows I am the guy. Never wanted to be the guy. I just wanted to know how Joseph Smith translated the King Follett sermon's claim that the biblical Hebrew text was wrong. It's all I wanted to know. What is the correct translation? Nobody knew. Everybody in this church is saying Joseph is wrong. And that was unacceptable to me. Is he not our founder? Is he not a translator? You're saying he's wrong, so he's a false prophet. And we're still claiming to be the true church? It's not connecting for me. I'm not feeling it. And so I went and did it myself. Had to do the whole pioneering research. And so then I find out that Joseph Smith is a translator, and I tell Mormons in Utah, and they want to burn the witch. You're not allowed to. What? What do you mean? Only the president of the church, who's Gordon B. Hinckley, can do it. Well, he's not doing it, so I did it. That's how you're supposed to be able to judge these guys, is they're not doing it. So 2017, I do the video on this channel about how Adam fell that man might be from the Egyptian documents. And the Strengthening Church Members Committee saw it. Told my bishop in West Valley. Because he doesn't watch YouTube videos. He doesn't follow me. Just like my brother. He was told by the Strengthening Church Members Committee to get me. Shut him down. Threaten him. He's going against the prophets. Well, if the prophets are going against the Book of Mormon, they're in the wrong. And so, yeah, after that, that's when I found out that Brigham Young was responsible for the assassination of Joseph Smith in Carthage jail. And that's a game ender for me. Having found out that Joseph was true, I wasn't finding out how the church was false other than they couldn't find out that Joseph Smith was true. So the church still had plausible deniability of being mere mortals. But once I found out that Brigham Young was responsible for the murder, no, it's very clear from the Book of Mormon. This church is not true. I cannot go back to church. I cannot deny Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon as Jewish. I can't do it. I would be denying truth and reality. Mormons don't understand this because they deny truth and reality. They don't understand why I will not give up my honor and integrity to be loyal to this church like Avraham Gileadi did, like others have done in attacking me. It's all supposed to be about love. Love does not keep secrets. This church is keeping secrets because they're the enemy. It's a no-brainer. And yet it's the most difficult thing for Mormons because they don't want to believe it. And lie and deny.